Ladies and gentlemen, in life we encounter moments where relationships are tested and hurt is inevitable. But how we respond to that hurt often speaks volumes, not only about who we are but also about what we deserve. In relationships, particularly those where emotions run deep, it's easy to fall into the trap of reacting impulsively. Yet, there is a powerful way to respond that commands respect, maintains dignity, and ultimately shows your true worth. Today we will explore 6 powerful keys to navigating emotional pain in relationships. These are timeless principles rooted in personal growth, strength, and self-respect that will help you handle situations with maturity and grace. When you respond from a place of strength, you invite the respect you deserve. Embracing responsibility for your own life is about understanding that you are the architect of your own reality, and you hold the power to shape your emotions, actions, and future. It means acknowledging that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you have complete control over how you respond to life's challenges. When you embrace responsibility, you stop playing the victim and start taking ownership of your choices. Instead of blaming others for your circumstances or waiting for someone else to fix your problems, you step into a place of empowerment, where you recognize that your happiness, peace, and success depend entirely on how you manage your thoughts, actions, and reactions. This means that when someone hurts you, it is not about what they did to you, but about how you choose to respond. The first step is recognizing that the power lies within you. How you react to others, how you allow their actions to affect you, and how you handle your emotions are all within your control. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming others for how we feel. But when we take full responsibility, we realize that the person who truly controls our emotional well-being is ourselves. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself for the actions of others, but about understanding your role in how you engage with the world. This requires self-awareness, knowing what triggers you, understanding your boundaries, and recognizing the patterns in your relationships that may have led to pain. When you take responsibility for your emotional health, you stop relying on external factors for validation and start looking inward for the strength and resilience needed to move forward. Taking responsibility also means not giving your power away to others. Often in relationships, we find ourselves entrusting too much of our happiness or sense of self-worth to another person. When they hurt us, we can feel as though we've lost a part of ourselves or that our value is diminished. However, when you embrace responsibility, you refuse to let anyone else's actions define your worth. Your worth comes from within, and no external circumstance should be able to strip that away from you. By embracing responsibility, you also empower yourself to change the direction of your life. You realize that no matter where you are, you have the ability to make decisions that will lead you toward your goals, dreams, and desires. You stop waiting for others to fix your situation, and instead you take the necessary steps to improve it. This might mean setting new boundaries, walking away from toxic relationships, or seeking personal development and healing. Whatever it is, you acknowledge that the decisions you make from this point on are your own, and they will determine the course of your life. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop making excuses. It's easy to fall into the trap of rationalizing why things aren't working out or why others are responsible for our pain. But true growth comes from taking accountability for your choices, whether they are good or bad. It's about accepting that mistakes happen, but it's how you learn and move forward from them that matters. Taking responsibility means not looking for someone to blame, but instead asking yourself, what can I learn from this and how can I make things better going forward? Ultimately, embracing responsibility for your life leads to personal freedom. You no longer feel trapped by the actions of others or the circumstances around you. You become the driver of your own destiny, empowered to create the life you want. It's not about waiting for someone else to give you permission to succeed or to be happy. It's about realizing that you already have everything you need within you to take charge of your own future. Responding with calmness rather than fury is a powerful practice that demands discipline and emotional intelligence. In moments of hurt, anger often feels like the immediate, natural reaction. When someone wrongs us or causes emotional pain, it's easy to be swept away by frustration and rage, especially if we feel betrayed, misunderstood, or disrespected. However, choosing to respond with calmness, even when everything within us screams to react with fury, is one of the most empowering decisions we can make. First, responding with calmness requires an understanding of the deeper consequences of letting anger dictate your actions. While fury may provide a temporary release, it rarely leads to a positive resolution. When we react with anger, we often say or do things that we later regret. Actions that could hurt our relationships, destroy trust, or escalate a situation unnecessarily. Fury can cloud judgment, making it harder to think clearly and see the situation objectively. It often leads to heightened emotions and miscommunication, causing more damage than it resolves. By choosing calmness, we step out of that cycle of escalation and open up the possibility for a more rational, productive response. To respond calmly, it's important to first recognize that we are in control of our emotions, not the other person. The key is in the realization that no one can make us angry unless we allow them to. While others may act in ways that are disrespectful or hurtful, our response is always a choice. By pausing before reacting, we give ourselves the opportunity to process the situation without giving in to knee-jerk emotions. This pause helps create the space needed to regain composure and approach the situation from a place of clarity rather than being overwhelmed by immediate feelings. Choosing calmness also allows us to maintain our dignity and self-respect. When we respond in fury, we lower ourselves to the level of the person who hurt us, giving them power over our emotional state. This can make us feel small, vulnerable, or powerless. But by responding calmly, we retain our integrity, showing that we are above the petty reactions that others might provoke. We show that our self-worth is not tied to how others treat us. Instead of being swept away in a storm of emotions, we stand firm in our strength and composure. Additionally, calmness opens the door to more effective communication. When we respond with calm, we are more likely to be heard and understood. The other person is less likely to become defensive or dismissive because we are not attacking or escalating the situation. When anger takes over, conversations often devolve into shouting matches where no one listens and nothing is resolved. However, when we choose calmness, we invite a more thoughtful dialogue. It signals to the other person that we are not looking for confrontation, but rather for resolution. This approach can diffuse tensions and create a space for both parties to express their thoughts without feeling attacked. The power of responding calmly also lies in the ability to take a step back and gain perspective. When emotions are running high, it's difficult to see the situation objectively. Calmness allows us to pause and analyze what is truly going on, what our needs are, and what outcome we desire. It gives us the chance to assess whether the situation warrants a reaction at all, or if it's simply a misunderstanding that can be cleared up with a calm conversation. This perspective is essential because it allows us to act thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, ensuring that our actions align with our values and long-term goals. Moreover, responding calmly can have a transformative impact on the people around us. When we respond with calmness instead of fury, we set a tone of maturity and emotional control that others are likely to mirror. Our example can influence those we interact with, encouraging them to approach difficult situations with a similar level of composure. Over time, this can lead to healthier interactions where conflicts are resolved more peacefully and with greater respect for one another. Finally, responding with calmness is a practice of self-care. Anger consumes energy, drains emotional reserves, and leaves us feeling unsettled. It takes a toll on our mental and physical health, often leading to heightened stress, anxiety, and frustration. On the other hand, when we choose calmness, we conserve our energy, allowing us to focus on finding solutions and maintaining our own peace of mind. By cultivating calmness, we create a space for personal growth and emotional healing, allowing us to remain grounded in the face of adversity. In the end, responding with calmness is not about suppressing our emotions or pretending that hurt or anger don't exist. Rather, it's about choosing to rise above the immediate emotional impulse and responding in a way that is thoughtful, measured, and ultimately more beneficial to our well-being. It's a sign of emotional maturity and self-respect, one that empowers us to handle life's challenges with grace and resilience. Setting boundaries with clarity and confidence is one of the most essential skills you can cultivate in any relationship, whether personal, professional, or social. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define where your responsibility ends and another person's begins. They help protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being by creating a space where you can function authentically and comfortably. When we fail to set boundaries or are unclear about where we draw them, we often find ourselves feeling overwhelmed, drained, and disrespected. Boundaries are not walls meant to isolate us from others. Rather, they are healthy limits that ensure mutual respect and understanding. The first step in setting boundaries with clarity is identifying what you need in order to feel safe, respected, and valued in a relationship. This requires self-awareness and an understanding of your personal values, limits, and triggers. Without this clarity, it becomes difficult to communicate your needs to others in a way that is effective and understood. For example, if you know that you need alone time to recharge, but struggle with saying no when others ask for your time, it's important to first recognize that your need for personal space is not just valid but necessary. Understanding what you need helps to clarify the boundaries you must set in order to protect your well-being. Once you have a clear understanding of your boundaries, the next step is to communicate them with confidence. Often people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear the response they will get, or they worry that others will be upset, disappointed, or even angry with them. However, effective boundary setting requires you to speak up, even when it feels uncomfortable. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, and when you communicate them with confidence, you're asserting that you are worthy of being treated with dignity and care. You are teaching others how to treat you by clearly stating what you will and will not accept in their behavior. It's important to communicate boundaries directly and assertively, but without aggression. This means being firm and clear about your needs without being defensive or apologetic. For example, if someone repeatedly interrupts you during a conversation, calmly and confidently stating, "I need to finish my thought before you respond," communicates your boundary in a respectful yet firm manner. Avoiding passive language or over-explaining your reasons for setting the boundary can be a way to assert confidence. You don't need to justify your boundaries endlessly or apologize for them. Simply stating them in a calm and clear manner shows that they are non-negotiable. Setting boundaries also requires consistency. Once a boundary is communicated, it is crucial to enforce it, even if doing so makes you uncomfortable. Many people struggle with boundary enforcement because they don't want to upset others or cause conflict. However, Inconsistency or a failure to enforce boundaries undermines their effectiveness and sends mixed signals to others about your limits. If you say no to something and then cave under pressure, you teach people that your boundaries are flexible or unimportant. On the other hand, when you consistently uphold your boundaries, you reinforce the message that they are serious and deserve respect. Over time, this consistency will lead to healthier, more balanced relationships where your needs are valued and respected. When setting boundaries, it is also essential to remember that boundaries are not just about saying no to others. They are also about saying yes to yourself. By setting healthy boundaries, you are prioritizing your own needs and well-being, which is a form of self-care. Many people fall into the trap of overextending themselves for others, sacrificing their own needs in the process. But by setting clear boundaries, you create a space where you can honor your own emotional, mental, and physical health, leading to a more fulfilling and balanced life. Boundaries enable you to protect your energy and focus on what matters most to you, rather than constantly being pulled in multiple directions by the demands of others. In addition to setting boundaries with others, it's also important to set boundaries with yourself. Self-boundaries involve recognizing your limits and honoring your own needs without relying on external validation or permission. This might mean limiting your screen time, saying no to overcommitting yourself, or taking regular breaks to recharge. Setting self-boundaries is about acknowledging that you are deserving of your own care and attention, and that you must create space for rest, growth, and reflection. It's about recognizing that you have the right to prioritize your health and happiness without feeling guilty. The confidence to set boundaries also comes from self-empowerment. When you set boundaries with clarity and confidence, you are demonstrating that you value yourself and your needs. You are taking ownership of your own life and experiences rather than allowing others to dictate how you should feel or what you should do. This act of self-respect builds your inner strength and reinforces your sense of self-worth. It teaches others that your needs matter just as much as theirs, and that you are not willing to sacrifice your peace of mind for anyone else's comfort. Boundaries also foster mutual respect in relationships. When we set clear boundaries, we teach others how to engage with us in a way that is healthy and respectful. Relationships where boundaries are understood and honored tend to be more stable, honest, and fulfilling. People feel safe and supported when they know that they are interacting with someone who values themselves enough to set clear limits. Additionally, when you set boundaries with confidence, you empower others to do the same. You lead by example, showing them that it is possible to be respectful, compassionate, and assertive without compromising your own needs. It's important to understand that setting boundaries is a continuous process. As life changes, so do your boundaries. What may have worked for you in one stage of your life might not be appropriate in another. Boundaries are flexible and evolve with your personal growth. As you move through different stages, you may find that some boundaries need to be adjusted or reinforced, while others may no longer be necessary. Being open to reassessing and recalibrating your boundaries is an essential part of maintaining healthy, respectful relationships throughout your life. Investing in personal growth is one of the most valuable decisions you can make in your life. It is a continuous journey of self-improvement, self-awareness, and intentional development that shapes who you are and who you will become. Personal growth is not just about acquiring new skills or knowledge. It's about transforming your mindset, building emotional resilience, and cultivating habits that align with your values and long-term goals. When you invest in personal growth, you're prioritizing your own well-being, happiness, and success, which ultimately influences every aspect of your life. One of the first steps in personal growth is developing self-awareness. This is the foundation upon which all other growth is built. Self-awareness allows you to recognize your strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. It helps you understand your values, beliefs, and motivations, which serve as the guiding principles for the decisions you make. By reflecting on your actions and thoughts, you gain clarity about who you are and what you truly want from life. This process of self-discovery is essential because it empowers you to make conscious choices that align with your true self, rather than acting out of habit, external influence, or fear. Investing in personal growth also involves embracing a mindset of continuous learning. The world is constantly evolving, and so are you. By actively seeking new experiences, knowledge, and skills, you open yourself to a wider range of opportunities and challenges. This could involve pursuing formal education, reading books, attending seminars, or learning from mentors who have already walked the path you wish to follow. It's important to recognize that personal growth doesn't only come from success or achievement. It also comes from failure, mistakes, and setbacks. Each experience, whether positive or negative, offers valuable lessons that contribute to your development. The key is to remain open-minded and curious, viewing every situation as a chance to learn and grow. Another crucial aspect of personal growth is developing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It involves empathy, self-regulation, and social skills, which are all essential for building meaningful, healthy relationships. When you invest in emotional intelligence, you improve your ability to navigate difficult situations, communicate effectively, and connect with others on a deeper level. This not only enhances your personal relationships, but also benefits you professionally, as emotional intelligence is increasingly recognized as one of the most important skills in leadership and collaboration. Personal growth also requires stepping out of your comfort zone. Growth rarely happens when you stay in familiar, safe spaces. It occurs when you challenge yourself, face your fears, and take risks. Whether it's learning a new skill, taking on a new job, or confronting a difficult emotional issue, growth happens when you push past the boundaries of what feels comfortable. Stepping outside of your comfort zone requires courage and vulnerability, but it is through these experiences that you build confidence and resilience. Every time you overcome a challenge or face something uncomfortable, you expand your capacity to handle adversity, which in turn strengthens your personal growth. As you invest in personal growth, it's also important to cultivate a positive mindset. How you perceive the world and your place in it greatly influences the way you approach challenges and opportunities. A positive mindset allows you to see obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable problems. It helps you stay motivated even in the face of adversity and keeps you focused on your long-term goals rather than getting bogged down by temporary setbacks. Cultivating a positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. Rather, it's about maintaining hope, optimism, and a belief in your ability to grow and improve, no matter what challenges come your way. Investing in personal growth also means developing a sense of discipline and consistency. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It requires time, effort, and perseverance. It's easy to get excited about a new goal or aspiration, but without the consistency to follow through, progress will be slow or non-existent. Discipline is about showing up for yourself day after day, even when it's difficult or when the results aren't immediate. It's about creating routines and habits that support your growth, such as dedicating time to learn, practice, or reflect each day. Consistency, paired with discipline, turns your growth efforts into lasting changes that have a profound impact on your life. One of the most transformative aspects of personal growth is developing self-compassion. As you work on improving yourself, it's easy to become frustrated with your progress or to be critical of your perceived shortcomings. However, Self-compassion is the ability to treat yourself with kindness, patience, and understanding, just as you would treat a friend. When you invest in self-compassion, you let go of the pressure to be perfect and embrace the idea that growth is a process. You accept that setbacks and mistakes are part of the journey, and instead of beating yourself up, you use them as opportunities to learn and improve. Self-compassion enables you to stay motivated, resilient, and focused on the bigger picture rather than getting caught up in self-judgment or doubt. Another vital component of personal growth is setting clear and achievable goals. Having a vision of where you want to go provides direction and purpose to your growth journey. Goals act as a roadmap, guiding your decisions, actions, and priorities. It's important to set both short-term and long-term goals, ensuring that each step you take brings you closer to your ultimate vision. Goals also give you something to strive for, which keeps you focused and motivated. However, it's essential that your goals are flexible and adaptable, as personal growth often requires adjusting your approach or expectations based on new insights or circumstances. Investing in personal growth also means surrounding yourself with positive influences. The people you spend time with have a significant impact on your mindset, energy, and overall development. When you surround yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and support you, you create an environment that fosters growth. These individuals encourage you to reach your potential, offer valuable feedback, and provide emotional support when needed. On the other hand, negative influences can hold you back, drain your energy, and hinder your progress. Choosing to invest in relationships that nurture your growth is just as important as the actions you take on your own. Keeping your standards high is a critical aspect of living a fulfilling and purposeful life. It means having a clear vision of what you want to achieve, what you deserve, and how you expect to be treated in every aspect of your life. It is about setting a bar for yourself that challenges you to grow, pushes you to perform at your best, and ensures that you never settle for less than what you know you are capable of or worth. High standards are not about perfectionism or unrealistic expectations, but about holding yourself accountable for your actions, choices, and the direction in which you are heading. The foundation of keeping your standards high begins with self-respect and self-awareness. When you respect yourself, you value your time, energy, and well-being enough to demand the best from yourself and from others. Self-respect drives you to make choices that align with your core values, principles, and long-term goals. It means refusing to compromise your integrity for the sake of convenience, temporary pleasure, or external validation. High standards come from a place of inner strength, where you recognize your worth and refuse to accept anything that diminishes that worth. Maintaining high standards also involves setting clear expectations for the kind of relationships you cultivate. Whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional connections, the people you surround yourself with should reflect your values and aspirations. High standards in relationships mean that you don't settle for toxic dynamics or superficial interactions. You seek relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and support. By keeping your standards high in your relationships, you set the tone for how others should treat you, and you surround yourself with individuals who elevate and inspire you to be your best. In your personal and professional life, high standards manifest in the quality of your work, the goals you set, and your commitment to excellence. Setting high standards pushes you to go above and beyond in everything you do. Whether it's in your career, hobbies, or daily responsibilities, you constantly strive to improve and deliver the best version of yourself. This commitment to excellence requires discipline, focus, and resilience. It means dedicating time and effort to master your craft, learn new skills, and refine your abilities. With high standards, mediocrity is never an option, and you hold yourself accountable for consistently delivering top top-tier results. Keeping your standards high also means avoiding complacency. It is easy to fall into the trap of comfort, especially when things are going well, and it feels like you have achieved a certain level of success. However, high standards require you to constantly challenge yourself, to keep evolving, and to never be satisfied with just good enough. When you allow yourself to settle for less than your best, you stop growing, and you risk becoming stagnant. By holding yourself to high standards, you keep pushing the boundaries of what you are capable of, ensuring that you continue to progress and reach new heights. Moreover, maintaining high standards requires a strong sense of discipline and consistency. You cannot achieve excellence by simply wishing for it or setting lofty goals. You must commit to the actions and habits that will get you there day after day. This might mean creating a structure or routine that supports your ambitions, setting specific, measurable goals, and remaining focused even when faced with challenges or setbacks. High standards require that you show up even when motivation fades, and that you persist in the face of obstacles. It is not about achieving perfection every time, but about continually striving for improvement and maintaining a high level of effort and intention. A key component of keeping your standards high is maintaining a strong sense of self-worth. When you know your value, you will not tolerate anything that diminishes your sense of self or lowers the quality of your life. Self-worth is the foundation upon which your standards are built. It enables you to set boundaries that protect your energy and time, and it empowers you to say no to situations or people that do not align with your goals or values. When you maintain high standards, you send a clear message to others and to yourself that you are deserving of respect, kindness, and success. It's also important to recognize that keeping your standards high is not about comparing yourself to others. It's about aligning your actions with your own potential and aspirations, not someone else's. Everyone has a unique journey, and your standards should be based on what you want to achieve and who you want to become, not on external expectations or the achievements of others. High standards are about your growth, not competition. When you focus on your own path and hold yourself accountable for your personal development, you stop worrying about what others are doing and instead focus on achieving your own definition of success. Staying committed to your high standards requires resilience and the ability to overcome challenges. Life will present obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but keeping your standards high means that you don't give up on your goals just because the road gets tough. Resilience is about maintaining your commitment to your vision, even when faced with adversity. It's about seeing setbacks as learning experiences, not failures, and continuing to push forward with determination. Resilience enables you to bounce back stronger and more focused, keeping your standards intact regardless of the difficulties you face. Another aspect of maintaining high standards is the willingness to hold others accountable. Just as you expect excellence from yourself, it's important to expect the same from those around you. This is not about being demanding or unreasonable, but about fostering an environment of mutual respect and accountability, whether in the workplace, in personal relationships, or in any collaborative effort. High standards involve setting expectations for others and ensuring that they meet those standards as well. When you surround yourself with people who share your commitment to excellence, it creates a supportive and motivating environment that pushes everyone to perform at their best. Ultimately, keeping your standards high is about having a mindset that values growth, integrity, and excellence in all areas of your life. It's about refusing to settle for anything less than what you know you deserve and what you are capable of achieving. High standards create a foundation for success, but they also foster personal growth and fulfillment. By maintaining high standards, you continuously challenge yourself to become the best version of yourself, striving for excellence and living a life that reflects your true potential. Practicing self-love and self-respect is a foundational aspect of living a healthy and fulfilling life. These concepts go beyond surface-level actions and require a deep commitment to nurturing your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. At their core, self-love and self-respect are about acknowledging your inherent worth, treating yourself with kindness and compassion, and ensuring that your actions align with your values and needs. They are not selfish or indulgent behaviors, but essential practices that allow you to live authentically, cultivate inner peace, and establish meaningful relationships with others. Self-love begins with the acceptance of who you are, exactly as you are, without judgment or criticism. It is about recognizing your unique qualities and embracing them fully, even the parts of yourself that you may not always feel proud of. When you practice self-love, you stop seeking validation from external sources because you recognize that your worth is inherent. It doesn't depend on achievements, appearances, or other people's opinions. Self-love means loving yourself unconditionally, embracing your flaws, and acknowledging your strengths. It is about learning to be your own biggest supporter and advocate, rather than your harshest critic. Part of practicing self-love is making time for yourself. In a world that constantly demands your attention, it's easy to forget to prioritize your own needs. Taking time for yourself is not about being selfish, it's about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you take the time to nurture your own well-being, whether through rest, creative expression, or simply engaging in activities that bring you joy, you restore your energy and recharge your mind. This time allows you to reconnect with your inner self, reflect on your goals, and regain clarity about what truly matters to you. Practicing self-love involves listening to your body and mind, understanding when you need rest, when you need inspiration, and when you need to simply be still. Self-love also involves setting boundaries that protect your emotional and mental health. When you love yourself, you recognize that your time and energy are valuable, and you refuse to let others drain you or compromise your well-being. This might mean saying no to toxic relationships, prioritizing your needs over others' expectations, or creating space for your own growth and reflection. Boundaries are a way of showing yourself respect, teaching others how to treat you, and creating an environment that allows you to thrive. Without boundaries, it becomes difficult to maintain your sense of self-worth and self-love, as you are constantly giving to others at the expense of yourself. Equally important is practicing self-respect. Self-respect is about treating yourself with the same kindness, dignity, and fairness that you would extend to others. It involves honoring your values, making choices that align with your integrity, and refusing to compromise on what is important to you. Self-respect means not allowing yourself to be mistreated, manipulated, or disrespected by others. It's about standing firm in your beliefs and maintaining a sense of self-pride, regardless of external pressures. When you practice self-respect, you hold yourself accountable for your actions and decisions, and you do so in a way that reflects your commitment to personal growth and ethical living. In many ways, self-love and self-respect go hand in hand. One cannot exist without the other. To truly love yourself, you must also respect yourself, and vice versa. When you respect yourself, you value your needs, desires, and boundaries, and you make decisions that honor your emotional and physical well-being. This respect ensures that you are not compromising your values for the sake of pleasing others or conforming to societal expectations. Practicing self-respect means being honest with yourself, facing your flaws with humility, and taking responsibility for your actions. It also means forgiving yourself for past mistakes and understanding that you are worthy of growth and second chances. Another important aspect of self-love and self-respect is self-compassion. Life is filled with challenges, and it's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. However, practicing self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same understanding and care that you would show to a friend in difficult times. Instead of beating yourself up for perceived failures or shortcomings, self-compassion encourages you to acknowledge your struggles with kindness, patience, and empathy. It's about being gentle with yourself, especially when you're going through tough moments or when you make mistakes. By offering yourself compassion, you create a safe space for healing and growth, rather than adding layers of shame or self-criticism. Self-love also involves developing a positive relationship with your body. Many people struggle with negative body image, often influenced by external standards of beauty. However, self-love means learning to appreciate and honor your body for all it does for you, regardless of size, shape, or appearance. It's about nourishing your body with healthy food, engaging in physical activity that makes you feel good, and prioritizing rest and recovery. When you love your body, you treat it with care and respect, and you cultivate a sense of gratitude for the ways it supports your daily life. Self-love requires you to let go of unrealistic expectations and embrace the idea that your body is worthy of love and care, no matter how it looks. Another important practice of self-love and self-respect is cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is an essential practice that helps you focus on the positive aspects of your life and appreciate what you already have. When you regularly express gratitude, you shift your focus away from what you lack and instead cultivate an attitude of abundance and appreciation. This practice not only helps you feel more connected to yourself and your life, but also fosters a mindset that is centered on growth, possibility, and fulfillment. Gratitude allows you to honor the journey you are on, the lessons you have learned, and the person you are becoming. Part of practicing self-respect is the ability to advocate for yourself and speak up when necessary. This can be challenging, especially in situations where you feel uncomfortable or vulnerable, but it is a crucial aspect of maintaining your dignity and integrity. Self-respect means not tolerating mistreatment, injustice, or disrespect, whether in relationships, the workplace, or society. It means having the courage to express your needs, stand up for your rights, and advocate for what is important to you. It also means walking away from situations or people that do not align with your values or treat you with the respect you deserve. Ultimately, practicing self-love and self-respect is about creating a life that reflects your worth and your values. It's about making decisions that honor your needs, building relationships that support your well-being, and embracing your full potential. When you love and respect yourself, you set the foundation for everything else in your life. You become more confident, resilient, and empowered to pursue your goals and dreams. Most importantly, you teach others how to treat you, and in doing so, you create a life that is aligned with your highest self. In conclusion, practicing self-love and self-respect is not just a choice. It is an essential part of living a meaningful and empowered life. These practices enable you to honor your worth, nurture your well-being, and set healthy boundaries that protect your mental, emotional, and physical health. By loving and respecting yourself, you create a strong foundation for personal growth, cultivate healthier relationships, and make choices that reflect your highest potential. It is a continuous journey that requires self-awareness, self-compassion, and the courage to live authentically. When you make self-love and self-respect a priority, you empower yourself to lead a life that aligns with your values, your desires, and your true worth.